Hello, everyone. Welcome to our April 2016 webinar, Facebook Ads 101. This is Zach Stone, and Molly McCormick is on the call with me, and we are going to go over some Facebook advertising options, what your options are, how to set them up. This is the 101 course, so if you're looking to get going on these things, or if you're looking to streamline your processes, this is the right webinar for you. It's going to be about 30 minutes, and we'll send out all the information afterwards. So not to waste any more time, let's get right into it, Molly.
Okay, hopefully we can make this 30 minutes off. I'll try to be thorough but quick. So yeah, my goal today is really just to give you a concise rundown of Facebook advertising and let you know what your options are. But I also want to let you know what our recommendations would be based on those options for you, what's going to work for you, what's going to make Facebook easier for you and get the best engagement. So we're going to talk about Ads Manager versus Power Editor. Those are the two advertising platforms. I'm going to just give you a quick rundown of the difference between a boosted post and a promoted post and the different types of ads and their functions, and then how to set it up finally. So bear with me because some of it may seem a little bit like we're jumping ahead, but I want you guys to see it from the foundational elements all the way through your options and then actually setting it up. So we're going to talk right now about Ads Manager versus Power Editor, and what you're looking at right here is the back end of Ads Manager. This is an advertising platform that really gives you the option to create and manage your ads. It's considered, I would say, the more basic of the two platforms, but it is probably slightly less confusing than Power Editor. I have to be honest with you guys, both of these platforms are not incredibly intuitive, and they can be a little bit overwhelming if you don't use them regularly, but hopefully we can get you a little bit comfortable with the idea today of using these. If you've never accessed Ads Manager, you can do that by going to facebook.com/ads/manager, and you're going to need to set up your account there, but once you have that set up, you can kind of poke around and see how things are going. And what you see here, this list of campaign name with all these highlighted posts, those are ads that we have already got going or we have completed running. So you won't see those until you set up your ad and you have some data to dig into. But this will give you information about who's looking at your ad, who's clicking on it, what kind of engagement you're getting, when you're getting the best engagement, if it's males or females who are clicking on your ad. It's just going to give you a ton of really good information about who's engaging with those ads. I really recommend that you use Ads Manager if you're going to start running ads on Facebook. But that being said, we'll talk about Power Editor, which is what you see here. Power Editor is another ad platform for Facebook, but this can only be accessed in Google Chrome, which is a browser if you're unfamiliar with it. It has all the same capabilities as Ads Manager, but it also gives you the ability to operate at scale. And what I mean by that is if you have many, many ads, and I'm talking like hundreds of ads, this is where you want to manage them. Power Editor can be just really confusing to people even if you do use it regularly. We were just talking about in the office who all has accessed Power Editor and how everybody who does this finds it pretty confusing and difficult to get around. Our clients really don't need this capability unless you're running a large amount of Facebook ads and you've got a social media manager whose goal is really to spend their entire day working on social media and working on ads. This option is going to be a little bit too much for you, I think. And it's just, I mean, it has some cool features which I'll go over and I'll talk about a little bit more in depth in a bit, but it's really just a tool that's kind of above my head, to be honest with you.
This is really a section or a tool that's going to be used a lot by product companies. So, for example, Amazon is going to have a lot of different types of products and ads and campaigns and ad sets. So they need to organize things at scale and really categorize things in a very sophisticated way. So for most of our clients, they're focused on one major practice area or a few, and they don't really need to get this sophisticated and break it down, and it can just be a little overwhelming and not necessary. It's kind of bringing an elephant gun to shoot a bird kind of thing. So you can use Power editor if you're really looking to go above and beyond, but it's really not necessary for most of our clients.
Well said. Okay, so there's a lot of confusion about a boosted post versus a promoted post and why one would be better than the other. So I just wanted to clear the air about this and basically explain to you what your options are here. A boosted post it's an ad, but it's an ad that's going to appear in your newsfeed. So you would just log into your business Facebook page, create a post, and then at the bottom right corner you have this button that gives you the option to boost the post. To boost a post, all you have to do is create that post, and then you're going to enter your targeting and your budget options. So you would want to use a boosted post for getting traffic back to your website and engagement with your Facebook page. Really, the goal here is just to draw attention to that post, more so than to drive traffic anywhere or do anything really other than call attention to this post. You might want to do that if you have a big announcement to make, or if you've got a new person in the office that you want to introduce, just something exciting that you basically want to share with the world. You might consider boosting the post. With a boosted post, you can target people who like your page and their friends, or people that you choose through targeting, which is limited to location, age, gender, and 10 interests. The cool thing about that is if you're an attorney, for example, who is creating a post about diabetes medication, you might want to then target people who've expressed interest in the American Diabetes Association. So you can kind of make those connections without getting super specific with your targeting. But if you do want to get super specific with your targeting, you would want to do a promoted post, which is really very similar to a boosted post. You can kind of approach it the same way where you create the post and then you go into Ads Manager and you promote that post. Another option you have is to create an unpublished post with a promoted post, which basically means you're creating a post that looks like it would be on your business page timeline, but it's actually not. It's unpublished. It's like a ghost post. And it's only going to be delivered as an ad and won't appear on the business page. And really, your targeting options are what would make the promoted post really appealing, because you can get super specific and you have a little bit of flexibility with the cost. When you have a boosted post, you can set a certain amount and then run the ad, and it just basically runs the ad until that dollar amount runs out. But with a promoted post, you can determine how much you want to spend per day. So they look exactly the same, boosted post and promoted post, and they serve the same purpose, which again is to draw attention to that post, which is important to remember when you're setting these things up. But I would really just recommend boosting a post when you have something kind of general to say, something that you can say to anybody and it would apply, versus a promoted post would be an opportunity to get really particular about the way that you target things. And these ads, the boosted post and the promoted post, they're going to show up in the news feed. They won't show up in the right sidebar ads, which you may see. The news feed is basically your Facebook home screen. I know people have a lot of different names for all the different pages on Facebook, so I just wanted to clarify.
You can almost, if you're familiar with AdWords at all, the light version is the promoted post, the Express, Google AdWords Express, and then, boosted post, and then a promoted post is more like regular AdWords. You have a lot more options. You can do a lot more with it. So if you're looking to just put something out there really quick, you can boost it. But if you're looking to really target your perfect client for an offer, campaign, contact, and you really want to focus with those promoted posts.
That's a really good comparison. Okay, so I want to talk to you now about your different ad types, but I just want to make it clear from the get-go that a lot of these ads are going to look the same, if not identical, but their function will be different based on the goal you want to accomplish.
Jennifer's asking, can you repeat which type lands where and
Oh, Jennifer, I'm sorry, we had a question from Jennifer who said, can you repeat which type lands where in a news feed? And it's a tongue twister. Both the boosted post and the promoted post are going to end up in the news feed of whoever you're targeting, but they're not going to end up in the right sidebar ad. So on Facebook, you've got a news feed, which is the stream of all the things your friends and family are posting, and then occasionally some ads. And then you'll see to the right, there are also a handful of ads over there. These two options will not show up in the right. These two options, clicks to the website and page likes, can show up in the right sidebar. For the majority of the rest of these ads are going to show up in the right sidebar. But they can also show up in the newsfeed as well, just to be totally clear about that. So clicks to the website is a really good way to generate, what is it? More
traffic.
Thank you. That's a hard word. It's a really good way to generate more traffic to your website, and it's good for if you're a podiatrist and you really want to get more runners coming to your website and more runners interested in what you do. If that's the kind of patient that you're looking for, this might be a good opportunity to create an ad about running and how their feet are affected by running and what you can do to help them.
A guide would also be a really great option there because you're trying to promote something that's educational, and different people will be looking for that information. They're not ready to contact a lawyer or talk to a doctor, but they're in the information stage. So those types of targeting and content types would work really well here. You'd then be able to market to them on your list down the line. So that's another really good thing that you can promote using the clicks to website ad.
Yes, and then the page likes ad is essentially exactly what it sounds like. You're encouraging people to like your page, and this is a great way to get more awareness out there, to basically put your brand out there and let people know that you exist. And it's going to give you more organic reach when you're posting on your Facebook page. The more people that like it, the more people are likely to see it. Something to keep in mind here is that Facebook is going to drive people to like your page based on people who have historically liked pages through advertisements. They have a really cool way of basically delivering ads to people who are most likely to take the action, and we'll get into detail about tracking pixels a little further down, but if you want to utilize a tracking pixel, Facebook can basically get even more targeted with that, give you a better opportunity. They're really going to drill down into the people who are likely to do the action that you're creating these ads for.
And the page-like ads can be really, really beneficial for doctors and attorneys who have not maybe played in the social realm very much. Recently, my parents have a bed and breakfast on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. I started to focus on their Facebook a little bit more to drive business, and I ran a page likes campaign for just about 6 weeks or so, and they had about 550 likes prior to this, and now they have over 1,000, and I was able to target people who matched their perfect client, people in the local areas who are interested in traveling, who have historical interests as well because it's an old house. So these campaigns can be really great at pushing people from, especially if you're just starting out, it's going to be really hard to get people to like your page. This is a great way to kind of make that go along a little bit faster so that when you do post content organically or through boosted posts, you'll get in front of more of those people more consistently. So it can be a really great way to quickly build page likes, but you want to make sure you're really targeted because you don't want just anyone to like your page. They have to be in your area, and they have to potentially be a client down the road or be able to refer their friends and family to you. So keep that in mind, that that's a really great way to start getting things going or to get to the next level of how popular your page is.
So another option you have is app installs and engagement. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because we don't have a lot of people right now who are using their own apps, but this is just the option you have to get people to install your app. So you can run this specifically on mobile phones. So obviously you're not going to tell people to install an app on your computer unless it's a desktop-based app. Local awareness is exactly what it sounds like. Basically, you're putting yourself out there in front of people in your area. This is great if you are getting tons of traffic to your website because you have awesome content, but it's all coming from California and you're based in Oklahoma. This is a really good way to get people in your area to get familiar with your office and your location. It does work, honestly, a little bit better for companies and companies, I guess, that have stores, just because you want something that's kind of quick and easy, that you can directly get to them and you can get that instant gratification from actually going there. But it is good if you have people in the area that you want to target and get them excited about coming to see you.
And check out that call to action at the bottom, get directions. If you're not in the business of just having people show up at your doorstep, you probably want to, like Molly said, avoid something like this, but this is a great way to promote in your local area.
Okay, so here we have different options. We've got event responses, video views, and offer claims. Event responses, again, exactly what it sounds like. This is an opportunity to get people to respond to an event. If they RSVP, their friends are going to see that they're interested in going to that event or that they are attending that event, and then they might want to attend the event as well. So that's a really good way to basically get people excited about something and to show up for it. We have a number of podiatry clients that do 5Ks, and they have events of the same sort. That might be a good option for you guys if you're hosting a 5K or you want people to come out and see you while you're there. Video views, again, pretty straightforward. This video has got to be really engaging and interesting, because the goal of this ad is just to get people to watch the video. So Facebook is going to deliver this ad to people who will hit play. It's not going to deliver it to people who are going to go back to your website. I mean, they might end up going to your website because of this ad, but that's not Facebook's goal. They don't see that. Offer claims is something I want to be very clear about, because there's some confusion with offer claims, and people, I think, assume that offer claims means, okay, I should put my free report, my free offer here on this type of ad. But this is really more targeted for, like you see here, $10 off your first order. This is an opportunity to give somebody like a promo code, or to give them a coupon to come to your store and purchase something. So if you have a store, if you have like a shoe store, you could definitely take this option. But just to be clear, that's really, if you're going to promote a report or a book or something that you have, like a guide, you're going to want to use website conversions to do that.
Another thing to go back on the event responses, if you are hosting your own event, this is a really great opportunity to both advertise on Facebook, but also do some backlink building. So there are a lot of great event websites out there. If you're hosting a 5K or if you're putting an event on, one way to drive more people to your website, get people involved with the event, but also pick up some backlink is but at event on the sites like Eventful, Yelp events, and those kind of things. And there's also a lot of local websites that have event calendars that if you get your event posted there, that's also a local indicator to Google and search engine. So use events when you're promoting them as best you can by promoting on Facebook, and also getting those events posted on these event websites that can be local and national.
Yeah, definitely. I actually went to Louisville not too long ago and was Googling things to do in Louisville, basically, and those calendar events were really helpful trying to figure out what I wanted to do while I was spending time there. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about, website conversions. This is what you would want to create an ad for if you are trying to get people to download your guide or your free book or whatever it is that you have that's an offer, like a bumper sticker. Website conversions is going to target people, again, you know, it looks exactly like the page likes and the clicks to page ad, but it's serving a different purpose because Facebook knows what your goal is, so it's going to serve that ad to people within your targeted, within your targeting. It's going to serve that ad to people who are likely to convert on your website. So through this ad, you're going to take somebody basically back to your website to a landing page where they can fill out their information. What you have here to the right is called a lead generation ad, and it does pretty much what the website conversions ad does. The goal is to get people to convert, but it does it without ever taking them off of Facebook. So if somebody clicks on this ad, rather than taking them to your website, it's just going to take them to this essentially Facebook landing page that auto-fills their information and lets them know that, hey, you're filling out information for the ad that you've created on Facebook. it just makes it easy for people to submit their information. They know that they can trust it because they're on Facebook. I have done some research on this before because we've had questions about it, and it was a while ago when I did my research, but I didn't see anywhere that this improved conversion rates. We've also heard that Facebook doesn't necessarily notify you that you've gotten a new lead, and you've really got to be able to say exactly what they're getting in just one sentence.
Right, to have them fill out a form. You would have to have a really enticing offer for them to fill out a form like that. And I had talked to someone just today about this, and we are looking into how we can connect DSS as a CRM to this lead gen section of Facebook. So we're looking into it, but currently it's not something that's set up so that it will automatically tell you when someone fills out a form through DSS. Facebook doesn't notify you consistently, I guess. So just keep that in mind, that if you're doing this, you're going to have to monitor it pretty closely because your normal systems won't tell you about it.
Right, and you can also only create these lead ads in Power Editor, which is something worth noting if you're not trying to get into something that's kind of over your head and confusing. So just another tidbit for you. Okay, so let's talk about your ad creative options. Of course, you've got your images. You can add an image to any ad and just have a static image and have your headline and your text and then your call to action. But you also have the option to include a video. You can include carousel ads, and then I'll show you what this is. Oh, is it not going to play? Here we go. So this is Canvas ad. I honestly can't imagine any reason that lawyers or doctors would necessarily need to use it, but it is a cool option if you have a very visual product or service that you're offering at the moment that you want to give away or you want to promote on Facebook. This is kind of a cool way to do it. This is also only available in Power Editor, and my understanding is that you've got to have some pretty cool stuff set up on the back end to make it work. Dynamic ads are essentially a way for you to create a catalog for people to look through of your products. So Amazon or Target might use a dynamic ad to display all of their shoes for spring 2016, or a restaurant might display all of their food from their menu. Again, I don't know that this would be particularly helpful to a lawyer or doctor unless you've got like a shoe store where you want to promote those products. And then you also have carousel ads, which are a pretty cool new way to display images. You essentially have a series of images, and you can put different descriptive headlines on each image, and people have the option to click through the pictures, and then you'll get information from Facebook that tells you which images are performing the best, the click-through rates, if they're converting after they click the image. So then you can also create other ads that are based on just those images and see if they perform as well as the carousel ads.
You can also use this as a embedded piece of information on Facebook. So let's say you wanted to talk about the steps in filing a car accident claim. You could use that as the intro of like learn more about the steps in filing a car accident claim, and then have visual representations of all those things to be able to click through to a more robust piece of content. So you can actually educate via the feed and not even have to really pay for them to click it yet, because they're using that as the piece of information. So it's getting that brand awareness to them without spending any money on it, and it's helpful and informational. So keep that in mind as well.
I like that. That's a cool way to do that. Okay, just to talk about some things to know. Well, let's start with this Brilliant Earth ad you see on the top left. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what it looks like when an ad is delivered to a person that has been targeted. I am relatively young, I would say, and I have been in a relationship with somebody for almost 5 years, and so Brilliant Earth is capitalizing on that by showing me engagement rings. And this is, I mean, a really good example of how an ad can be delivered to somebody. They should probably deliver the ad rather to my boyfriend than me,
yeah,
but
they got 80% of the way there,
yeah,
of a perfect target.
Right, but maybe they're hoping I'll nudge. Maybe I'll take the lead. All right, so some specific things that you should know. You cannot create ads based on specific medical conditions or criminal history. And I'll clarify about that in a second, but I want to make it clear that if you violate Facebook's advertising rules, they will shut down your business page. And I don't know of anybody whose business page has been shut down that was able to get it back. When I say that you can't advertise about specific medical conditions, what I'm saying is you can't go basically find somebody's medical history and then deliver ads to them based on that, which, I mean, of course, is against all sorts of laws and HIPAA regulations. But you can, for example, say, if you have diabetes and you need help, you know, contact us. If somebody has a criminal history, you can't go look up the criminal history and then deliver ads to them based on that. Like, have you been involved in an armed robbery? Those things are not allowed. You can say, I'm an attorney that deals with people who have been involved in armed robberies, and then you can deliver it to a general targeted audience. But you want to be really careful about getting, you can get really invasive and specific with your targeting as it is. You want to be really careful about crossing that line. Another thing to make note of is that car accidents. Ads that highlight car accidents are often rejected because Facebook considers the images of car accidents to be sensational, scary, and they can evoke a negative response. So we've had a number of attorney clients try to run car accident ads and they just keep getting rejected, and it's frustrating and they don't know what they can do. And it's really just kind of, the ball is in Facebook's court, and if they don't find it appropriate, then they're just not going to accept it, basically. Another thing to keep in mind is the 20% text rule. So Isabel is going to send some links right now to everybody in the GoToWebinar box, but I will also follow up in the email with links to these things. There's a grid tool that Facebook has that can let you know how much of your image is text. If it's over 20%, Facebook is going to reject the ad. They will not approve it. So that tool is really helpful to use. Another thing you can do if, for instance, Faye this morning sent me this ad example, and she's really frustrated because, of course, it's an image with text in it, but the text is the image itself. And it's not a picture that with text that's overwhelming, and the text is a message and it's trying to say something. It's just a picture of money. So what you can do in that case is try and appeal the ad, and there's a very easy and specific way to do that, and Isabel's going to send a link for that as well. So just something to keep in mind if you feel that your ad has been rejected and it shouldn't have been because you did meet all of the criteria, then just go ahead and try and appeal it and see what happens. Facebook might reject it again, but if you're lucky, they'll take a second look at it and they'll say, oh, okay, no, you're right. And I've done that before. I have submitted ads for appeal, and I've gotten them approved after the fact. Okay, so this is how we're actually going to set up your campaign. We're going to talk about the tracking pixel here, but the campaign is the top tier of your whole ad. This is what you want to accomplish. It's really straightforward. The options that you have are, you know, everything we just went through, like clicks to website or page post engagement. But you want to make sure that you get this right the first time around, because you can't edit this once you've created the ad. You're going to have to go back and create a whole new ad if you need to change anything. What you see here where it says FWM Facebook conversion, this is a tracking pixel. A tracking pixel is a little snippet of code that tells Facebook what the user is doing when they click on the ad and go to your website. So you used to be able to add this code yourself to your website, but Facebook has recently made an update, and now you need your website developer to do that. So you can send that to us. You can submit a ticket if you're one of our clients, or send it to your own website developer if you need them to do it. But all you have to do is create the pixel within Ads Manager and then send it to us, and we can go ahead and add this to your website for you. You're not required to use a tracking pixel. Like, you can create the ad without it, but it's a really, really great way to see if your ads are leaving a lasting impression. And like I mentioned earlier, when you use a tracking pixel, Facebook can really optimize that delivery so they're seen by the people who are most likely to take that action. This just gives them that extra information that's telling them, okay, these people are more likely to do this thing that you want them to do, and now I can be sure to give it to those people rather than taking kind of a pretty good guess. You also have the option to create custom audiences for the people who take specific action on your website. So if you've got like a product page or somebody got like halfway through filling out something and then they left, you can kind of retarget those people with an ad. A good example would be like if I go to Amazon and I add something to my cart and then I click away from the page and then I start seeing these ads on Facebook for that thing that I put in my cart. Okay, so the ad set.
I had one question from Carol that I think is worth answering out loud.
Oh, sure.
And that was, if you have multiple office locations, can you have more than one Facebook page? So, like, can you have a Facebook page for each of those? And so I'll give my answer, and then Molly, if you want to give your feedback as well. So, technically, if it's a different office location, it's a different business essentially, and you could, in the essence of what Facebook pages are, have multiple pages. That is definitely what we do not recommend because it becomes very hard to manage. It spreads, just like we recommend that you have one website so that every link you ever track goes back to that one website and you're managing one brand. The same principle applies to Facebook. If you're trying to build likes and followers and promote and get great engagement on promoted posts, you're going to be splitting it between two buckets, and there's only so many people to go around, so someone's not going to like, more than likely no one's going to like both of your office pages. So we strongly recommend that you focus on one branded Facebook page for your business.
I 100% agree with that. Honestly, mostly just because I don't want to do twice the work, and I can't imagine anybody else does. And we actually had a really great question, and I'm sorry I can't remember who it came from. This was a while ago. Somebody was asking about should I create a Spanish Facebook page and an English Facebook page, which is a great question. I also don't recommend that for the same reasons. You don't need to create twice the work. What you can do is when you're creating a post, and I'll include a screenshot of this in the follow-up email just so you guys have a clear understanding of what I'm talking about, but when you create a Facebook post on this page, you can actually determine who you want to see that post of your audience. It's not the same thing as targeting because you're not setting up an ad, which you have to pay for, but it's essentially saying, I want group X to see this post, but I don't want group Y to see this post. So if you have a Spanish post, you can target that just to your Spanish-speaking Facebook fans. Or if you have an English post, you can target that just to your English-speaking Facebook fans. So that is a great question. Okay, so the ad set. This is what you're looking at is the ad set. This is who your campaign is going to reach and how much you're going to spend on it. Once you've set this up, you can create multiple ads, but they're all going to target the people that you specify in the ad set, and they're all going to have the same budget. So that's really important to keep in mind. Again, you can update and edit this, but you can't create ads that target different people. You can create different creatives. So you can create one image, one carousel ad, one video ad, but it's all going to have the same targeting and people. If you want to create a different ad that's going to target different people, then you need to go back to the beginning and create a second campaign. So you have a ton of targeting options in here. You know, you've got the basic stuff like location, age, gender, but you can get detailed with life events, interests, industry, job titles, pages they've liked, and I mean, you can get really specific too. I, the other day, was searching just to come up with some examples for somebody, and I was able to find multiple different job titles that kind of fell under the same umbrella. So marketing manager, marketing assistant, marketing specialist, they're all available, and you can target all of those people with one ad if that's what you're looking for. Really cool targeting options. I highly encourage you to just play around with there and see what you've got available to you, especially based on what you're looking for. And if you need a better idea of who you should be targeting, we can also provide a link to the perfect client exercise, which I'm going to make a note of so I don't forget to send that to you guys. Okay, and then another point I just wanted to make is that Power Editor does allow you to adjust the targeting and the budget based on the ad. So that's another reason you might be inclined to use Power Editor, but again, I think it's too much work. Getting to understand it is just as much effort, if not more, than just setting up a second ad in Ads Manager. And then you've got a lot of stuff to manage within Power Editor. It's a really awesome tool. It's a great tool. I don't mean to dismiss it. I just think that if you're running a handful of pretty specific ads, you're not going to need the capability that Power Editor offers. Okay, and then finally, we come to the ad. So this is the creative that's going to appear in somebody's news feed or right sidebar, and you get to choose where it displays. If it's receiving more engagement in one place or the other, you can also determine if you don't want it on people's mobile news feeds, like if you've got a really lengthy form and you know that people aren't going to go back to your website and fill out 48 different fields, then you might want to just consider running that ad specifically on desktop. Again, if you've got that app installment and engagement ad running, you would want to run that specifically on mobile. So different options for where you want these ads to appear. But this is where you get to write your headline, your text, you get to include different images. I got really lame with this and didn't actually put anything interesting in here, but I started to just kind of set up a carousel ad that just has our logo in there rather than actual images of something interesting. And this would probably get rejected because it's probably more than 20% text. But yeah, this is where you can track the images that get the best engagement. This is pretty much, that's the rundown of how you create your campaign. Pretty straightforward and pretty easy once you get the flow of it, but it can be really overwhelming and unintuitive if you're not familiar with it. So definitely just take the opportunity to go into Ads Manager, play around, see what your options are, and you don't actually have to get anything running. Sometimes I'll just set an ad to start a month from now, set the whole thing up, and then go delete the ad because I know I don't want it to run, and I was just playing around with there to see if there were new options for me. Okay, and I believe we have a number of questions here.
And there was, so I saw a question from, and I was trying to answer some of these as they were coming through, and we've gone past that 30-minute time frame, so we might need to send the answers to people. But James had a question about ROI on Facebook ads versus Google AdWords, and it's really hard to compare them apples to apples. In AdWords search ads, you're targeting people who are searching for a specific service, product, or answer, so you know they're interested. You're going to cost more for that click, spend more for that click, but you know that they're very engaged. On Facebook, it's basically display advertising where you're targeting demographics and trying to get people to take action because they're in the situation at this point in their life that they need your service or company. So it's very hard to compare them, but they both can provide good ROI if set up correctly and you're in a good location to make that jump.
We had a question from Ryan that said, I'm sorry, I've lost the question now. Have we found a good way to target for personal injury or car accidents? So there are a number of ways to do that. It seems that Facebook doesn't like for you to use the word you when talking about car accidents or injuries or medical issues. It seems like it wants you to be kind of general and vague. Like, for example, we've recently been running an ad for one of our clients, Gray and White, about the Assure birth control device that has been causing issues for tons of women. And in order to get those ads approved, I've had to use very kind of vague language about the Assure birth control device has caused issues for thousands of women. You know, you don't want to wait too long to file a claim, and just stating what the problem is and then explaining what the option is has seemed to work really well. And we've actually gotten a ton of really good engagement, and we've gotten a handful of good leads from that as well, actually, which was kind of, Facebook doesn't always provide awesome leads. They will provide leads, but they're not always awesome. But it was really cool to see that we got a handful of good leads from that. There was somebody who had a question.
There was also, I was going to just mention, there are take a look at interests on AdWords. At least you can target people who are interested in auto body shops, which would imply that they've recently been to an auto body shop, so they've probably been in an accident or dealing with an insurance company. So I can't remember off the top of my head if that's one of the options in Facebook as well, but keep an eye out for things like that. Things that people are interested in or doing because they might be in the situation that you're trying to target. You guys are mostly service based companies, so keep in mind that someone who's hurt their foot or might have been in a car is going to have specific types of interests related to that.
We just had a question. Can you please explain how to target people who have liked your competitors? And that's actually pretty simple. If you go into Facebook and you start typing the name of your competitor, it will show up as an interest if it's available there. And it's basically people who have liked that page. You can target those people. Can we talk a little bit about custom audiences? Oh, yes. Custom audiences, I'm sorry, it's kind of a tricky one. So custom audiences is basically a way to create an audience through a tracking pixel for people who take specific actions on your website. So that's what I mentioned earlier about people adding something to a cart or purchasing a product, how you can then essentially, for lack of a better term, you're kind of remarketing to those people through Facebook. You're reminding them like, hey, you had this thing in your cart, but you didn't check out. What are you doing? You want to come back and check out now? Or kind of following up with people like, I'm sure you had a great experience and now you definitely want to refer your friends to us, right? So those are the options you have with custom audiences, but you'll find your best bet is to create the tracking pixel, have it added to your website, and then start experimenting with the ads to see what comes up for you and what you can do with those custom audiences.
Be careful with custom audiences because you can quickly dive into the location of bad advertising on medical issues.
Yes.
So like if you have a diabetic foot page on your website and then you use that to potentially advertise to people about diabetic foot injuries, that's against Facebook's policy, so you can't advertise to them based on that medical condition. So be very careful when looking at that stuff.
And I would be happy to help you guys sort through some of these questions and concerns, and I would be happy to also take a look at your Facebook page or your social media pages if you're interested in getting some feedback on what you are doing, what you can do better, what's working for you. You can head to fwmanalysis.com and go ahead and fill out the analysis page. Just include in the comments that you're interested in the social media analysis. We'll work through that. And I know there are quite a number of people who have attended the webinar today, so we will weed our way through all of the analysis requests and we will get to you, I promise, if you're interested. We'd be happy to help you guys out. Thank you guys all so much for your time, and I'm sorry that we're out of time, but I will be happy to send you lots of follow-up stuff, and feel free to shoot me an email with any questions that you have.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.